What is up, everybody? This is Silverspook, and this is the Silverspook video about live stream present that we are living in, and yeah. So I'm gonna try to be more active than usual in today's chat, because I'm gonna be, trying to interact with the audience. If you have questions about the game, about what's going on with Cyberpunk games in general and those kinds of things. Can't guarantee I can answer everything. For example, if it's violation of the TOS or stuff I can't really be at liberty to say. But other than that, I'm going to try to be a little bit more interactive. Anyway, so what's the main what's the major updates? For those who are just kind of like, I just want to know, is the game done? What is the release date? If that's what you want to know, the answer to the first question is it's not done at this moment. So yeah, it's not completed yet, unfortunately. But release date, don't have one yet. But I'm still aiming for by the end of this year. Where is the game at right now? So Neofeud, this is a script. This is of course a screenshot from Neofeud 2. Where is it at right now? At this moment, the game is approximately, I mentioned in the last update, like the game is done, programming, art, writing is done. That's been done for a while. I was on the voice acting phase from like March or so. That's taken like a bit more time than I wanted, but the game is, Neofeud 2 is like twice as long or more than Neofeud 1, so that the voice acting phase and the rest of it's going to take a little bit longer than Neofeud 1. I mean, understandably. I hope understandably. I apologize if you wanted Neofeud 2 yesterday. But the game's voice acting is currently at. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go take a look. Let me take a look at my file here. The game's voice acting is currently at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 out of 85 characters cast. Sorry, 9 out of 85 characters are left to be cast. So that's basically, it's approximately 90%, right? So just the last 1/10 of the characters. There's a lot of characters. There's almost there's actually over three times the characters in Neofeud 2 than in Neofeud 1. Just to give you an idea. So that's 3 times as many people to find to act in these roles. This is a lot. But the good news is we got 90% of that done. So just in the last 10%, and the last 9 characters, they're all smaller characters too. They're mostly smaller. They're all not primary characters. And there's a couple there's a couple, I call them secondary because they're not quite main characters, but they're not just small bit parts. And there's like 1 or 2, there's like 3 of those, and then 6 very small parts. So we're basically very close to being done with that. I still have to record a bunch of voice acting for the for a few of the characters. Holly has to record a bunch more voice acting for a few of the main characters. But that I'm confident that can be done. That we can get that done reasonably quickly, because if it's me and Holly, that are recording the voices, we're not in a position to be. I mean, it's kind of like I kind of know how, like, these are also characters I know how they are. I know how to do them. It's not like a question mark. That's why I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get all the. Sorry. That's why I'm trying to get all of the characters cast that may not be done in-house as much as possible. I want to kind of figure out who's going to do what. because those are kind of question marks. Like, how is this character going to sound? Who is auditioning for them? Who can do them? So the auditioning process it's been a lot. I was kind of telling people, like, if you sent auditions a while ago, apologies that I didn't get back to you within a week, or within a decent window of time, because I'm having to kind of cast and direct a bit at a time. I can't cast and direct 85 people all at once. It's just too much. It's just like, it's a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of messaging. I'm just gonna put the Neofeud trailer up behind me while I talk, so that it's not just a static image for a bit here. Hold on 1 second here. Maybe I'll put my green screen on. I hope the sound is off. On this video. It seems like it is. Okay. Yeah, I think I might have mentioned this last time, but let me turn the volume on the microphone up. Sorry. Casting is one thing. I have to listen to auditions. So I've been listening over the last it's been 6 months of voice there, acting, casting, directing. I have to listen to auditions, and I've taken in it's probably been, I don't know, close to 100 or more potentially auditions. I have to listen to the auditions. I have to think about them in the context of the character in the script, and the script is 700 pages. So the script is longer than any Hollywood movie, basically, by a long shot. It's longer than some TV shows. The script is approximately let me look this up. Just to give you an idea, how long is an Isaac Asimov book? What's the book people read? Neuromancer is a cyberpunk book. It's like the original cyberpunk dystopian, neon future cyberpunk book. Neuromancer was 270 pages approximately, right? And so Neofeud 2 is 3 Neuromancers long, right? iRobot is Isaac Asimov. That's about 250 plus pages, about 250 pages. So Neofeud is 3 iRobot Isaac Asimov books long. That's how long it is. That's just the dialogue. So long story short, it's just a lot. So what I've been doing, what's up, Viting Gale? Thanks for stopping by. Yes, please. Thank you for suggesting people click the like button. I probably should have. Let me put something up on the screen so people know what's happening here. Please. What was I saying? Anyway, so long story short, so to do the casting, it was a lot of listening to auditions, considering them, going back and looking at the actual script, thinking about whether they can sound or could be modified to sound like the character they're supposed to be playing. I got to listen to the quality of the sound of their microphone, whether they're using a Blue Snowball, Blue Yeti, a $3,000 advanced studio mic recorded in a professional studio. If it sounds too good, I'm kind of shying away from that, because I'm you should, I'm a one person indie solo dev. We're not rolling in the cash monies, if you know what I'm saying. So I don't want you to spend what if you're worth $200 an hour or whatever you're charging, or $5 per word. We can't be paying that. So we don't have the highest of quality of we don't the bar isn't you don't have to sound like a AAA game per se, but at least try to not be a roller coaster ride of plosives, coming through, like a children's tin can telephone. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as it doesn't sound like absolute total incomprehensible, just clipping, just blowing out the mic, distorted garble, like coming through an apocalypse gas mask, going through, apocalypse gas mask going through like a $1 computer headset mic, or like just the $5 Walmart headphones, built-in microphone that hangs on your neck next to the volume slider. As long as you're not recording through basically something like that. I don't know why I took all that effort to explain that. That's what being a writer is about. Long story short, so we got a bunch of auditions, listened to a whole bunch of people. I'm still taking auditions as we speak. I'm waiting for a few more from some of these are like, they're not really auditions, they're just kind of like the somebody's performance. I'm waiting for it to come in. Well, but even after the audition, it's kind of like, okay, well, you seems like you can do this character. Okay, now record all the lines for this character. So then the voice actor has to record the lines, send me all these lines in a WAV file, MP3, OGG format, whatever it is. And then I got to listen to all those lines, right? So let's say a character has like literally 2 hours of dialogue. I'm not joking. That's like a small character in Neofeud. A secondary character in Neofeud 2 has 2 hours of dialogue. That's to give you an idea, right? Potentially. Some of them. The primary characters, like me and Holly, we have like 10 hours of audio, 10 hours of dialogue. Just us talking. I have the files if you want to look at them. It's like 10 separate files. Each one is like, half a gigabyte. So there's a lot of content. I would say that. I mean, there's a lot of story in Neofeud 2. That's for sure. There's like over twice as much as Neofeud 1. I feel confident in saying that based upon our numbers. But long story short, so I got to listen to all that. That takes a lot of time. Then you got to take that input, what they performed, go through for corrections, right? I have to listen through it and then like listen for like, did they miss? Neofeud 2 has some complicated script. I mean, just to give you an idea. I mean, I'll turn this trailer off for a second here, just to give you an idea of like what goes into the game. Let me just get some of the script up here. I'm trying to get a file that would be good to show. Maybe not that one. Oh, I'm already on it. Oops. Sorry, I'm just trying to find what's the best way to show a file on this screen. Okay, I have the Neofeud script right here. I'll show you some of that. So, like when we're going through the script, people have to like read all these lines. And I know I talked about this last time, so I won't belabor it too much. But long story short, here's a bunch of here's like just some of the script. I'll just use a random area, right? So like there's characters that have to say things like, the Terralon emit no magnetic field, gravitational waves, or radiation of any kind. They're only detectable by minute octonian ripples in hyperdimensional space. That's just a random line. I just chose it out of the blue. So like you have to be able to, like, there are multiple made up words in that sentence. There are many complex science, technological, technobabble, and neologisms and jargon in that sentence. Like what's a Terralon? How do you say that? I have to a lot of the times I'm just letting people guess, but I do have a pronunciation key for some of the made up words. So I was like, yeah, you have to know how to pronounce that. Magnetic field, gravitational waves. I mean, you can't the majority of Americans don't qualify to be Neofeud voice actors or Neofeud 2 voice actors because 56% of Americans can't read above a 6th grade level. So you are in the minority of those highest quality of literacy of the American populace. If you happen to have qualified to be part of the Neofeud 2 voice acting team, congratulations to you. Congratulations to you, voice actors. Anyways, they're only detectable in minute octonian ripple. So there's about a lot of made up words. And that's just one part. You have to be able to like read these sentences convincingly. So I was looking for a lot of science fiction nerd type people, because you got to be able to. You got to just be like Star Trek, right, or Star Wars. You got to just be able to say things like, you know, I made the Kessel run in 14 parsecs. You don't even know what you're saying, right? Harrison Ford didn't know what the hell he was saying, but you got to say that the way that it's. You have to convey that with the emotion and the psychology and the gravitas, if necessary, right? That needs to come through in that line. That's a secret to acting. You may discover that later on if you get more into film, games, entertainment in general. What the hell is a helephant? If you understand how science fiction and fantasy works, it's particularly sci-fi, and cyberpunk is a subgenre of that, obviously, then, those people that they kind of like, you have to be able to just kind of not be thinking about how confused you are by that word. Like, what is a 2,000 degree demonic elephant? What is Helion sector? You have to just know. You have to kind of be agnostic, right? In the sense, in the original formal Greek meaning of that, meaning you have to be okay with not knowing, right? You're agnostic, right? You do not know. I don't know what that means exactly, but I'm just gonna say this sentence as if I do. So yeah, that's part of acting though, also, because you aren't those characters. So anyway, so people who are able to act, acting ability is part of it. Long story short, so acting ability is part of the acting ability. So I'm trying to look at the chat at the same time. Let's make sure my chat is actually scrolling here. So acting ability is part of that process of like selecting the actors. Like, ooh, okay, there. Like, who is actually, like, you don't have to be an Oscar winning, Emmy Award nominated. You don't have to be like, an MTV Music Video Award nominee. You don't have to be like, a master Juilliard trained actor per se, but like, it's kind of there's actually I have a pretty esoteric way to choose actors. It's kind of, a lot of it is who kind of feels like they're going to really embody the character. There's to an extent, it's like if the quality of your recording equipment is extremely low, then that could be a problem. But then it's also like, after that, it's like do you understand the character? Can you convey that character in particular? Can you say the words that are being, do you understand kind of what you have to also kind of be able to just kind of get it, because I don't have time to go to people's houses or go to a set and like, I was just watching the making of Chief of War, just as an example, and they're talking about the whole that's a huge process to get that made. So much research and work is done, like, months and months ahead of time, and then on set. And like, we don't have that. It's like an indie solo dev studio. It's like kind of like, do you kind of get what we're doing here? Do you like science fiction? Like, have you seen Blade Runner? Do you know what a replicant is? Do you know what the Terminator is? Right? Do you get why a hippie Terminator, an anti-war Terminator who lost his leg to a depleted uranium round in the second Dresden firebombing? Do you get like what that might be trying to say? Why that character is funny and why it might be poignant in regards to the military-industrial complex? If I have to explain what the military-industrial complex is to you, or what PTSD is, you're probably not right for the part. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of got to be a certain, kind of person that's kind of already kind of like into the similar topics and into the. There has to be somebody who might be a prospective player of this kind of game, to be a voice actor. I feel like that's kind of how I kind of selected a lot of the actors. Not just that, but that's important for Neofeud 2 in particular. I mean, that's not as important for, like, I don't know, Call of Duty or Marvel Champions or whatever that game is. Like, if you're gonna voice act like Ryu or Ken or Chun-Li, you just got to be able to say very simple words. Mostly you're not really even saying words. You just kind of like monosyllabic grunting, and screaming, and sometimes dying. And like the most polysyllabic you're gonna get is Kamehameha. That's about it. You're just gonna say like culturally appropriated Hawaiian leader names very loudly. That's about as maximal. That's the maximum complexity you're gonna get from those kind of, action-based games. No shade. That's a lot of work though. Actually, doing all the violent, heavily intense action where you gotta scream and grunt and like yell and do all these kind of like anime show acting, and action acting is even just the voice acting. It can be a pretty physical job. It can be a demanding job because you gotta like really, like, they do some messed up things too. They'll like put a rope around you and like yank you while you're acting, and you go like flying. You can actually can be physically dangerous and damaging to be a voice actor doing action voice acting sometimes. And also your throat gets. I had to do a character. I was just doing a character like yesterday that was supposed to sound like he sounds like an orc. He's got like, I don't even want to do it right now because I'm gonna screw. I had to take a bunch of lemon drops to fix my voice up after doing all that. It's a very like, there's lots of rasp and growly grunting. It's a very like angry guy, angry dude. He's actually an angry neo-Luddite. Not really a Luddite, but he's an angry man. He's being displaced by AI and robots, and he's taking a sledgehammer to an automatic OmniShop stock bot, and he's like smashing it because he lost his stocking. He lost his stocking and his Uber Eats gig driving jobs to the robots. So now he's smashing them up. So that guy's really mad. He's just like, oh, I'm pissed off, man. But then it wrecks your vocal cords because you have to kind of force air. So it kind of sounds like a PV amp distortion turned up to like 6. It's kind of you have to kind of just make distortion in your throat to kind of get that tone, and it sounds good. It sounds like in that kind of character, like it sounds like very blue collar. You put a little Italian on that. That's like a mob boss's thugs, but it also screws your voice up, and you gotta like rest your voice for a while. Otherwise, you start sounding like Tom Waits, and then you just always sound like that, right? You got all these nodules and scarification. You have an entire it's just like sandpaper in your neck. That's where there used to be vocal cords, right? And then you always sound raspy and growly. So with the amount of, I taught for 10 years in extremely loud, boisterous classrooms. That's what Neofeud 1 is about, working with at-risk, underserved, impoverished, poor, marginalized kids. But then they got like a whole bunch of them screaming in your class. You got to scream over them, or you got to somehow control classrooms and project your voice. And then also live streaming, sometimes very intensely, and then also playing. I play a lot of music and that. Altogether, like, my voice is not what it was before. So, anyway, that's just random voice acting stuff. I'm thinking a lot all about right now. It's the Neofeud 2 phase is all in the voice. It's all in the voice acting. It's acting, it's directing, it's casting, it's voice acting. So I'm really in that space right now. That's kind of where a lot of it is at. I'm hoping to leave that space though. So back to the updates, and not just kind of digressing upon digressions of tangents of, fraying stray threads that are going everywhere. So the good news is that we're at 90% casting, and my goal is to get all the roles cast in this next week, like within like this coming week, and I want to get the voice acting. I want to try to get all the voice acting at minimum like recorded by the end of this month, and ideally, if I could get all the voice acting done by the end of August, that's my goal. I was hoping to get it done by June, but it's too much. It's just too much altogether to be getting it done in June. I recorded like 30,000 words. That was I recorded like 10 full hours with just one character in March or April, and Holly recorded a whole bunch in like April, May, and that was just the main character. That was just the beginning, right? That was like me and Holly's together is like 70,000 words. That's like a whole book, and that was just like March and April, just recording this every day, going and recording. And then there's not just recording. I gotta edit. I gotta robotify. There's many robots. There's synthetic characters. There's psionic aliens that need that Protoss voice effect. That I have a lot of fun doing that. That takes a lot of time. There's one character I'm working on right now. It takes that character takes like 2 to 3 times as long per word to work on, because they need. I have like sometimes 5 or 10 separate tracks of their voice to, because they have an extremely affected, like, modulated alien. They're like speaking through like it sounds like they're speaking through like a billion years and across galaxies all at the same time. That's kind of who they are. They're like a 26 dimensional being that, like, they take one step and they're speaking to Andromeda, and also in the Andromeda galaxy they're speaking to the historical Greek figure Andromeda, and also in another galaxy, the Andromeda galaxy, at the same time. So it's kind of like, imagine. So I was like, what would that sound like? So they have a super ethereal. There's like all this echo reversed reverb effect, right? And they're also speaking into your mind. They don't even need to open their mouth to talk. They talk telepathically. So like so that effects, like that, do the effects is a whole job. It's just doing the vocal audio effects. It's just like that. There's actually somebody, I think, in some of the Wadjedi games, which is another adventure game. Wadjedi games makes, Techno Babylon. They recently came out with Old Skies and Unavowed, and I think there was a dedicated sound effects and voice effects person who just did the special effects for the voices. So that's a whole job, because that takes a lot of you got to process it, you got to make sure it's intelligible, it sounds interesting and robotic or alien or undead or ghostly or whatever, demonic, whatever you need to sound like. Dark Lord, you got like, you take the voice, you drop it 5 half steps, and then you drop another verse. You clone the voice and drop it another octave and another one in like a diminished interval, right? But that's all like extra work you got to do, and you got to make sure you can understand what the person's saying, the actor's saying, but you also have to want to be able to get the effects. So anyway, I've been doing like yesterday I was just only working on adding these effects to this particular character's voice, and so which is fun and interesting, but that's a whole day just for some of one character, not even a main character. It's like some of one character took a whole day. You just put effects on like 25 of their lines, just to give you an idea. Let me just look at the chat. Sorry, I'm not looking at the chat. I'm supposed to do that. Black Out Media says that amount of recording definitely takes a lot out of you. That's yeah, it is a lot of recording. Yeah, it is a lot. But by the way, if you just tune in, I am today. I'm just trying to give updates on the state of Neofeud 2, of course, and Silver Spook games in general, and of course, as the developer of Neofeud 2, I'm also taking questions or anything you want to know about Neofeud 2 or the game, in particular Neofeud 2, obviously today, but other things as well. I can't guarantee I will answer all questions, because especially if it's inappropriate, but yeah, if it's related to the game and such, or the dev process, because I do the writing. I mean, obviously, if you haven't got it yet, you can always grab Neofeud, which is on Steam and also on itch.io, and it is a cyberpunk retro adventure game. Although if you are watching this, you probably already knew that. That I spent 2.5 years working on. I mean, again, I spent 2.5 years working on Neofeud 1. Neofeud 2 has taken 8 years, unfortunately, but as I frequently bring up, I have to promote Neofeud 1, manage the Silver Spook company, and then also work on Neofeud 2. And also Neofeud 2 is it's just bigger now. I didn't even realize how big it was till I was way in the weeds with it, I think. Neofeud 2 may even be split into multiple games because of how long it is. I'm not gonna split it and release the other one like a long time later. It'll just have to be possibly in part, like 2 parts. We'll see. I don't have a lot of other people testing it at the moment, so we'll have to see how it is. It's really just kind of for the length of it, because it's just so long. But Neofeud 1, you can't get it right now, and it frequently goes on sale, of course. Just a random aside, since we're already off of the Neofeud 2 updates, just another little update, is that, let me turn this off here. What was it? Somebody recently put out a video about Neofeud, in the last week. Let me just check that. Certainly in the last month. And they put this video out. Sorry, I just realized part of my face is disappearing. But that looks more cyberpunk, right? There is this video called. Let me see if there's any other ones actually. Oh, two queers play Techno Babylon. They also played Neofeud. I think I saw that. Yeah. It looks like this channel copycat. This is a copycat YouTuber copycatting somebody else's YouTube, complaining about copycat Steam games. Anyway, long story short, there's this channel called Game Ranks. I don't know if anybody knows who Game Ranks is. Okay, if you don't know who Game, I don't know much about this channel myself, so I confess I didn't know who it was until I was like, why is everybody telling me about this Game Ranks?
Try to do that. Hi folks, it's Falcon.
Apparently they're like an 8.33 million subscriber channel. That's just, it's a pretty big channel, and they have a video on. I'm gonna try to not get in trouble, so let me see if I can not play anything that I just want the image of where they talk about Neofeud. So like in their video, they bring up Neofeud in this video. So they bring up Neofeud, some screenshots from it, and so I thought it was interesting because it's actually it's obviously it's not the most flattering video to have your game show up in. But it was interesting that a lot of people's take in the comments was what Neofeud is not actually like Blade Runner in so many ways. Like it's not, Blade Runner is an adventure game that came out in the late 90s made by Westwood Studios. It's actually 2.5D. It's like Resident Evil graphics. The similarities between Neofeud and Blade Runner is that Blade Runner is in the cyberpunk genre and it's a point and click adventure game. And that's basically it. I'm just trying to think off the top. Anybody who's like a really popular, if you're a cyberpunk science fiction fan or an adventure game fan, right? Off the top of my head, there's the games that are closer to Blade Runner include Techno Babylon. It's fully all neon at night, which is like Blade Runner, all at night. Cyberpunk adventure games. Neofeud has lots of other aspects. Neofeud is also very meta cartoonist. The tone is very different. Neofeud's tone is very a lot of it's very tongue in cheek. There's fourth wall breaks, for a lot of some of it's extremely serious too. But a lot of Neofeud is dystopian, apocalyptic. It's very yellow daytime hue, right? Neofeud draws from things like District 9 by Neil Blomkamp. It's sci-fi. It's cyberpunk adjacent, but not But Techno Babylon is fully cyberpunk, I would say. It's all neon, all at night, it's all cyborg robots, all that kind of stuff. Beneath a Steel Sky is pretty seriously, serious cyberpunk, I would say. Maybe the palette's a little different, but it's closer to Blade Runner. Neon Heart City is a smaller, recent cyberpunk point-and-click adventure that recently came out. There's 1,000 cyberpunk, right? How many cyberpunk? If I just type in cyberpunk point-and-click games, how many are there, right? There's so many, right? Techno Babylon, Red Strings Club. Is a cyberpunk themed adventure game and looks closer to that. Neon.code. What is this one? Okay, that's System Shock. I don't know System Shock cons. Born Punk, a cyberpunk adventure, right? Neon Heart City, Virtua Verse, right? There's so many cyberpunk, right? But anyway, long story short, I'm not saying that it's I thought that was interesting that it was chosen, but also, but it's kind of like it's actually a very positive thing that it's on there because a lot of people who wouldn't have discovered Neofeud, suddenly discovered it because this 8 million subscriber channel that has 225,000 views. It had like 200,000 views in 4 days. So, it actually was helpful because like 200 people suddenly wishlisted Neofeud within a few days, and I was like, what is happening here? Like, this is so unusual. I mean, it's like, why is there this sudden explosion of visibility? And long story short, so that's part of the game dev process. So I'm trying to make sure I look at the chat. Part of the game dev process. I mean, so in one sense, that's I don't know that Neofeud is the closest to Westwood Studios game, but the fact that they chose Neofeud is actually has been beneficial to Silver Spoon Games because we got a lot more eyeballs on it, and that's not the first time something like that has happened. There's actually, I was pointing it out on the Twitch stream. Also, what's up, Street Cat Love? Thanks for stopping by. Game Ranks. No investor. I mean, it's kind of like, on the one hand, it's kind of like, I don't know if I agree fully with that Neofeud is a direct, copy of, what is that? I don't know. Neofeud is a copy of Blade Runner, the game, but the fact that it was included, it's like, thanks for including Neofeud on the list because now all these people saw it. So it's a lot of like, we don't have a lot of money for marketing and stuff like that. So any visibility is much appreciated. I mean, there's some ways people could talk about your game that's could be potentially net negative, but I don't see that because a lot of people that have never heard of the game. I mean, Neofeud is definitely not owned by a majority of Steam users. Like if most people who have Steam owned Neofeud, right? That's the major gaming platform on the PC. And then there was a really, attacking review or something, maybe that, but I mean, it's like just people discovering it. Even if 90% of 240,000 people, right? And I mean, Neofeud has less than 100,000 sales. I mean, just to to make it simple. So if 240,000 people, even if half of them don't like Neofeud, if half of them like Neofeud, that's like that'd be like as many sales as that'd be like twice as many sales in all of Neofeud's history suddenly, right? It's not quite that. It's more like maybe like 0.1, maybe like 1 out of 1,000 people who watched that video would be like, I think I'm going to go grab that Neofeud game. But even 1 out of 1,000 of 250,000 is 250. You know what I mean? I think that's about right. There's another video called just on that topic. This is a little bit of a digression onto the process of marketing your indie game, which is basically like crossing your fingers, hoping and praying. There's this video called Basic Glitches that was put out by this channel called Rooster Teeth or Funhouse. It's the guy who really liked it. This one guy who really liked it, his name is Sir Lawrence. He has a channel called Inside Gaming on the YouTube. And this is a multi-million subscriber channel, but he really liked Neofeud, and so when he played it, a lot of other people didn't like it. But and the video is not necessarily positive, but because he really liked it so much and he shared it, all of a sudden, all these people who would never have heard of Neofeud, some people are like, I don't really play retro games. I don't play point-and-click adventure games. I don't really like Cyberpunk. I don't like reading. I asked Grok or ChatGPT what is in all books, and I asked Grok to summarize it in like 3 words. And Grok said that War and Peace was like nonviolence and about investing in Nvidia. So I invested in Nvidia, and that's about all the reading I'm ever going to do because I like stonks. So anyway, so if you don't like reading, it may be a little bit tricky to play. I think it's hard to play point-and-click adventures and detective games and those kinds. It's not like first-person shooters and like fighting games, and you gotta. There's a bit of like reading you're gonna have to, I think, do at least listening to a lot of the dialogue to play these sorts of games. But anyway, long story short, so when this video came out, it was a huge boost to the visibility of Neofeud as well. I can actually see it in the chart. Like Neofeud was like really low. It was really bad. I was like, I'm gonna have to go flip burgers at McDonald's, or break rocks in a mine. I'm gonna have to go into the salt mines. I have to go into the maltrollium processing plant, or sell various viscous bodily fluids for money, to a corporate overlords, because I don't know if this is gonna work out. And then this video came out, it moved Neofeud inside of the Steam algorithm to another level. So that was we're not rich by any stretch of imagination, but it wasn't like making $10 a month. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Sorry, I'm kind of off my topic. Let me get back to where we are at. I'm just checking the chat here. Yeah. Anyways, so anyways, again, if you just tuned in, I'm trying to be more listening to the chat than usual. So if you have any questions about Neofeud 2 or the state of Silver Spoon Games, feel free to ask it if you would like to. That's kind of the purpose of today's stream. I try to do this like once a month or 2 months or so, once every so often, just to not be just trying to come up with video ideas, frantically scrambling at the end of the week. I've been trying to make like a video a week on the YouTube. It's just a habit, really. Not that I have to do that particularly, but it's also good to kind of get people updated on what's going on this channel, on other places like on Twitter and on Facebook and on Twitch. People are, but some people are a bit more up to date on what's going on, but maybe people are not. Some people don't use those. So for the YouTube viewers, anyway, what else is going on? So long story short, so the voice acting, there's a whole ton of voice acting that had to be done, or almost done with that. I want to get all of it recorded. Ideally, all of the voice acting in the game by the end of August. This is what I've been doing. Basically, it's like, I had 60 characters about a month ago, and I was like, okay, if I can't get that character cast, I'm gonna put something else on the screen while I'm talking. I was like, I'll go to the Neofeud 2 itch site maybe. If I can't get this character cast in the next, if I can't get the character cast soon, I'm just gonna do 2 characters a day. Me or Holly is gonna do 2 characters a day, because I was like, if we do 2 characters a day in 1 month, every character will be done, right? So if it's like, I'm just gonna choose the characters that I feel like I can do. Like there's a lot of robots, so it's like, okay, this is an armless robot guy. This is the homeless Octobot that has his brain, like, he's forced to sell his neural cycles. He's renting his brain CPU time because his brain is owned by a corporation, and he has to rent his brain back to the corporation that is forcing him to spew ads from his mouth. So he has to basically deactivate his head, right? And there's like an AI generated corporate speak ad for getting, it's actually a mind virus where people have ads to get corporate brains installed into their heads, and once they get that installed, they can't afford it. Costs $2,000 a month, or Zuck coins. There's Gate bucks, Zuck coins, and Musk money, and you got to pay one of these crypto stable, very unstable, but no, it's actually stable coins. You have to pay in the stable coins that corporations have as their own personal Ponzi schemes to rent the mines that you need. But if you don't rent the mine, right, your brain can't think fast enough, right, and doesn't speak in the appropriate corporate speak. So if you can't speak fast enough and you become an unemployable, obsolete human or a piece of flesh, right, how will you properly prompt the AIs that you need, right, to compete in the hyper competitive modern job market, right? So once you buy the AI brain, then you have to pay rent back, and so but you can't afford it because you lost your job because the AI is full of bugs. Your cyber brain is full of bugs. So you have to rent your brain cycles back to the corporation so that they can pay you money to make ads to get other people to install the cyberbrain in their heads is very much like what's happening with the world right now, as everyone outsources their neurons and their meat computers, physical, autonomous, sovereign thinking to external capitalist entities, right? Like, for example, ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini, and the Torment Nexi owners. And so then they lose the ability to produce coherent sentences without the assistance of world-ending corporations. Anyways, if somebody says, if you would share promote your game, do you have any preference for how or where? Like to shout out artists and mutual aid where I can. Good question. If you want to share Silver Spoon Games and Neofeud, you can just however you think the people that you're around. I mean, obviously we make retro cyberpunk, 90s style. Not just that, but Neofeud 1 is the one you can get. Neofeud 2 you can't really get it yet, but if anybody who might be interested in retro games, cyberpunk games, retro adventure cyberpunk games, obviously we come from a left progressive political alignment, so those kind of people who might be interested in that also, and are also our gamers, whatever you think would be appropriate to pitch. Somebody asked, like, what do I leave for a review? Also, if you like Neofeud, one thing that you can do if you play it is to leave even a very short review, because the algorithms, the way the algorithms work is that they don't like when Steam or Itch, right, and or even YouTube, right, but the way Steam works, like on YouTube, if more people like the stream, somebody said like the stream, so that it gets boosted in the algorithm, right? So that when people are logging into YouTube, people are more likely to see a YouTube video that has more likes on it than not, right? Among other among other metrics that determine what video gets shown, right, to people. Whether they click on it or not, is another question. But I mean, if you don't get shown something, how will you even know whether you want to watch it or not? You know what I'm saying? So on Steam, the way that the games are determined to whether they get watched, whether people get shown the game or not at all, is when people are just browsing, right, or like looking, what game should I play next? Other games like this game, right? The Steam algorithm takes the number of like reviews, and in particular positive reviews, and then that multiplies how frequently it's shown to the millions of Steam users, right? So if you did play Neofeud and you liked it, it's kind of like leaving a positive review on Steam is kind of like liking a video or leaving a comment on a video, because comments on videos, right? Videos with more interaction, engagement, comments, likes, shares, stuff like that, that increases the weight, right, in the algorithm for whether it gets shown to people. So if you leave a review, that's one way you can help out as well, on top of just like, just do you like retro cyberpunk games here? This is the game you might want to check out. I don't know. It depends on what kind of folks you're around, I guess. Of course, if you, the other way you can help at Silver Spoon Games, we do have Patreon. We also have Ko-Fi and Patreon. Ko-Fi is for direct mutual aid donations, and the Patreon is for also mutual aid support for us, and also in an ongoing basis, of course. So yeah, those are two other ways. If you're like, I don't really play games, somebody's like, I don't really play games, but I want to support anti-imperialist, anti-capitalist, retro indie cyberpunk game devs that are also happen to be native wine cooperatives, which we are. Then you can help out without buying games on the Ko-Fi, or by supporting on Ko-Fi or Patreon. I'm just trying to answer the question that was asked there. Grant Scarber says, Zuckbucks, I love it. What's up, Grant? When it goes on sale, give it to your friends. That's what I did for my partner to leave another nice review. Yeah, thanks a lot to Street Cat Love for sharing the when it goes on sale, people, I believe statistically about 90% of people buy games on sale, particularly on Steam. So when there's a Steam sale, that's when most people will buy games. It makes sense, right? Because you're like, there's so many games to play. games go on sale, people just buy games. You know, it's just it's the Steam library is just like a giant digital bookshelf that you can like look at it and just like pet, like a cat, like a Persian cat. You know, it's like, oh, look at my beautiful games, and then you just leave them there and never play them. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, obviously, many people have backlogs of games they have bought but they're not playing. But they tend to buy these games on sale. So when it goes on sale, it's a good time also to share it. But even if it's not on sale, if you share the game, people might wish list it. Some people will buy it at the full price. Obviously, that happens too. But yeah, you can just share it with your friends and be like, if you know somebody plays games, you could buy the game for them and give it to them as a gift as well. That's the thing people will also do, So all of that together adds up. It's kind of like so that's part of the marketing. I guess that's part of the marketing, right? Because marketing and promoting is part of the game dev process too. So I'm just gonna try to change this up again because I don't want to leave the same image on for too long. So the marketing, this is like random Neofeud to art. The marketing is its own process. I want to show some sneak peeks later on of the latest stuff in the game. I haven't done that yet, but I want to do at least a little bit of that. I've done a bunch of that on Twitch, especially recently, but I haven't done any on YouTube. So I try to get to that before we leave. But it's kind of like a process where it's pretty. A lot of it's word of mouth. If you're a small indie dev like us, it's a pretty small. It's a pretty word of mouth. A lot of various kinds of self-promotion and just trying to, like what we're doing now, because you don't have money to be like buying huge ads and stuff like that. It's kind of like promoting books. If you're like a book seller or you're like make art of any kind, really, on a small scale, that's kind of part of the life, I suppose. Anyways, so I'm doing all this voice acting. I was just choosing like one robot. I was really focusing on the robots because there's like about 40-50 robots in Neofeud too. So I'm like, if I take my voice and I put a bunch of like ring modulators and like really contorting the voice a lot, because it's a robot, it can sound however. Some of the robots look more unusual than others, so they're even more distorted. So then it's hard to tell like it's me talking, right? So I voice act probably like 20 robots. 10, 15, or maybe 20 robots. There's also alien characters. So the alien characters, and then some of them, like I actually watched this video on the voice acting thing, because that's a lot of where I've been at for the last 6 months, like I said. I watched this video called How You Can Make 100 Distinctly Different Voices. This guy doesn't need any ads, but it was actually helpful. There's actually a few of these. How you can make 100 distinct voices. You won't necessarily make 100, but like it's like thinking about like what do they call it, the Laban efforts, like light versus strong, direct versus indirect, or like direct. I should probably practice direct versus indirect. I kind of think of it like spacing out and like not knowing where the microphone is. Spacing out, and then it's direct versus indirect, light versus strong, and then what is it? Dabbing, light, strong, direct, indirect, and what was the last one? Sudden or sustained, right? Sudden is like pizzicato, versus fermata, like in music, right? It's like sudden, the voice is happening very all of a sudden, and it's kind of like da 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 da. It's like staccato, right? Versus sustained, right? And so the way that you say the words, like you could take one sentence, right? Like, the sky above the port was the color of television tuned to a dead channel, versus the sky above the port was the color of television tuned to a dead channel. And that's even before you get to speed and stuff like that. So anyway, so long story short is I was watching that video, and every day I would like make 2 new voices. And I'd be like, what if I do like a British sustained floaty alien, like, I must construct additional pylons. That's literally one of the voices I did for this. It kind of sounds like a Protoss. He's also a Protoss reference. He's like a homeless McSwifts, which is like McDonald's, but for societies where they literally grind up children and turn them into burgers. So he's like a mix. He is a refugee, telepathic alien that's like pushing a cart full of broken Mr. Coffee makers because now he's broke, right? He's like a homeless Protoss refugee, just like wandering around a dystopian capitalist burning hellscape society and going like, I must construct additional pylons. And then the other guy's like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, well, I parked my land chariot. I'm sorry, my shopping cart full of my belongings in the no parking zone, and now I've been sentenced to a month of placing traffic pylons, So I have to voice act that. Hey, what is up, complaining lady? Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, we have a celebrity in the house. Complaining lady. Don't forget to. I don't know if complaining lady has a also YouTube stream. I know complaining lady streams on Twitch though. I think we've raided recently into that into complaining lady's channel. Oh, actually, I probably shouldn't be showing this on this channel. They might get mad at me. But complaining lady streams. I think multiple places though, right? If I'm not mistaken. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, well, complaining lady also posts to YouTube. But there you go. Streams to all kind of different places and also posts to YouTube. What was I talking about? I forgot. Okay. So anyway, so that's where it's at. So we're at 90%. 90% of the voicing is done. Just got to get the last few voices done. Doing a ton of I was just talking about how we're doing it. So every day I was trying to do like 2 voices a day. At 2 voices a day with 60 voices remaining, right? Do a little bit of we call the Cyberpunk community the mind user community and also the heart employer, right? Because many people don't use their brain, right? They prefer to ask Grok everything, right? And allow the 5 remaining neurons that haven't been eaten by MSNBC and Fox, right? And the defunded, disbanded U.S. education system. They prefer to use synthetic malfunctioning software that wastes computer chips that they call AI to think for them. So for the mind user community in the Cyberspook network, 60 divided by 2 is 30. So in 30 days, in 1 month, my goal was I could get all the voices done in 1 month. And if somebody got cast in a role, so like let's say like I put out like all these auditions, if somebody like was like, okay, that person's gonna work out for this role, then they get cast. If they don't get cast, either way, I'm gonna get this voice acting done because I was like, we gotta just get this done. And I can't be taking another 8 years to finish Neofeud 2. So Holly did a bunch of voices. Holly did a Russian alien, a blue human alien interspecies, and also 2 moms, lesbian alien and human moms. So they're interspecies and they're also in a lesbian relationship, and they have a half human, half alien hybrid child. And she's also Russian accented, blue, cephalopodic. She has kind of like tentacles coming off her head. She's a blue, kind of looks a little bit like the diva from Fifth Element. I think I was thinking about the diva from Fifth Element. She sings in the space opera, when Chris Tucker is bzzz, all over Bruce Willis. If you haven't seen Fifth Element, don't worry about it. But I was kind of thinking about her a little bit. And I think she has like tendrils coming out of part of her body. Anyway, Holly plays this blue alien gay Russian revolutionary mom, because they're also moms, so they're actually like teaching reading to their child. They're actually part of the Neofeud 2 deals with like not installing foreign cybernetic, which is partially it's a metaphor for outsourcing your brain to AI, but it's also just kind of like just not trusting not trusting corporate hardware is in general, and so they're like raising this child. Anyway, sorry. Every time I bring up a character, I'm like going into their backstory. I have to be like part of the reason why. Another reason why I want to get all the voice acting done in 1 month soon is because it's just like I gotta have my brain like in 700 pages of the story of the world, right? If somebody sends in voice acting, let's say that somebody sends in voice acting for Act 1, right? On page 100, there's a robot character that has to, overthrow capitalism in their local city with the assistance of like the alien, the 4-armed green alien slaves that are trying to break their own chains or something like that. I mean, let's just say like that's in page 100, there's a character in one area of this multiplanetary Neofeud 2 world, and then the next in the afternoon, the same day, somebody else sends another audition for a character or like the part for a character that's on page 650, right? And this character is like a part human, part fish character that's like seeking out, a universal constructor in a collapsed undersea stratoplex sea scraper. Those are like completely different characters, but I need to know exactly what they need to sound like at any given time. I have to have the entire, like, as the director for this thing that's bigger than Chief of War. I don't know. I don't know that for certain, but I feel like in the total playtime, it's bigger than one season of a TV show. It's like 20 hours. I need to know like what is happening on page 650 exactly. And like whether the way that the person is saying those, I need to know every single word and every single way it needs to be said. I need to know all the characters, places, and names and everything. And I need to know that they said everything right on page 650. I need to know that they're conveying the appropriate emotions in that scene on page 650. And I also need to know page 100, right? Which could be taking place in another city and another country. And these are all, there's like multiple alien languages. I know I gave myself all of these problems to have, but thus is my overscoped, thus is my Pandora's box explosion of overscoping. The previous iteration of Silver Spook that was in existence 5 years ago, I can be upset at older Silver Spook, past Silver Spook for doing that, but that is the state of things. But it is what it is. Neofeud 1 was like that too. By the end of when I was in the last phases of Neofeud 1, I memorized the entire script from start to finish. I could be like, I would just rattle off lines in the shower. I'd just be like, we lost a ton of good seniors that day. Lost my leg to a depleted uranium round and cooked my motherboard. But I'm reformed, friend. I've opened up my third eye. I could just be like, Protege, the hippie Terminator. I could just like rattle the entire freaking script off. With Neofeud 2, I can kind of rattle big chunks of the script off. I don't know if I could stay from start to finish all 700 pages of the script. I'm not gonna even try, but I do have to like know it, like back to front. But that takes up so much space in my brain. It just takes up so much space in my brain. Like if you like, just as an example, like on Chief of War, I was watching how they're making Chief of War. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at a chat, but let me just finish this. On Chief of War, I was watching Jason Momoa's tutor for Hawaiian language. That was Kaho Kahi. We actually met him. I'll shout this. I know this is not necessarily exactly related, but I think it is related actually. Yeah, this one. We actually met Kaho Kahi on Mauna Kea when we were the anti-colonial, U.S. imperialism actions on Mauna Kea, where Jason Momoa actually met the guy on the right, Kaho Kahi. He was actually the lead spokesperson for the Hawaiians against the desecration and the U.S. military bombing on our sacred mountain, and also their illegal projects. And but he was talking about like the whole process of like being part of the production, and they would have like one of those things that they were trying to really have Hawaiian language be done accurately and appropriately to the maximum of all their ability, right? And so, but while he was doing that, he was talking about all of these. There were like directors, casting directors. There's like a team of people just in charge of making sure the script, right, and everything is correct in the script. There's like teams of writers and stuff. Obviously, like Neofeud 2 is not an Apple TV show, or it's not Aquaman, you know, but like I kind of have to do all those roles, you know. There's not that much special effects. I don't need like grips and lights and camera people like you would on a movie set. But like when it comes to like directing the story, right, when people are when I have like 30 actors, right, that's like sending me lines and shit, they're recorded parts, I gotta like listen to that. I gotta be able to make these calls, like, is this correct? Now, on the case of Chief of War, it's you know, in the case of Chief of War, it's there's a story, right? There's like, where are you like adhering? Are you violating your ancestors by incorrectly having like sloppy Hawaiian language? You know, is the placement of the characters, is the kind of costume they're wearing appropriate, or is it inaccurate, right? Or is it too inaccurate? You know, because it's hard to get it perfect. But in the other two, it's not necessarily like that. But it a lot of those things, like is the alien character, right? I mean, you might not know the alien language I made up. It is not really necessary that people know exactly how to pronounce every single word, because it's not like I'm gonna violate. Wait, it's not like when it's a made up language. It's part of why I made up the languages, because if it's a made up language, then if you get a pronunciation or you get the word off, right, it's not gonna be like you're not gonna do this mass. Not microaggression. You're not going to do like a macroaggression against your entire culture, the way that you might if you screw up a native the Olala Hawaii, which is our Hawaiian language. But it's kind of like, but you have to make sure the emotions are correct. You got to make sure the characters are who they are at that time. There's all this stuff to juggle, right? And so, like, it's actually all this extra mental psychic energy has to go into you know, like this character, Holly's character, plays this green-haired character. Like, that one's the easiest because Holly, like, kind of knows this character, because Holly's been watching me make this game a long time. I streamed, like, parts of this game for, like, years already. So Holly kind of knows how that character's going to be. Obviously, in this scene, she's very scared from the giant robot chasing her around. Right? But there's other characters. Again, there's, like, 85 characters, right? They all have to be able to... I have to know how they have to be. So that takes up all this mental space that has to be stored in my RAM. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you're running your computer and you open up OBS, you open up Twitch, you watch a YouTube video, right? You got like 3 separate games open for some reason, right? You're playing a card game and you're also playing Overwatch, and then you're playing, right? Your computer is gonna get taxed, and it's gonna run slower because of how much you're simultaneously running. My head is kind of like that, you know, at this point, because I have to have all this open in my brain. At any second, somebody's gonna today somebody might email me and be like, here's you know, here's an hour of dialogue from page 350, and I have to be able to like listen to it right now or very soon and be able to confirm, like, is that correct, or does it need retakes? Is anything mispronounced? Was the emotion wrong? Was it too much? Was it over the top? Was it not over the top enough? Because Neofeud is a bit weird, because Neofeud has some of Neofeud's world. If you've played Neofeud 1, some of the Neofeud world is more serious, you know? It can be deathly serious. Like, you know, parents get their children taken by child protective services because they're marginalized, and then some people die. That's how serious it gets. Right? It's like real time, real racist, real, you know, hate crimes happening on the screen, you know, in actually the way they happen, right? Even the cops ask questions like, you know, do you have a weapon on you, or is the weapon in the house? I want those scenes to be like extra hyper real, because I want it to have like that, like, visceral emotional impact. You know, it's not like watching children get unalived on your phone, with no edits. You know, not necessarily the same as that, but it's like I want it to feel like this is what happens in the world. So those are like really serious scenes. You have to play those scenes different. Then there's other scenes that are kind of more slapsticky. That's like, you know, there's a Sega Genesis in the wall that's like trying to kill you, and he like shoots you with like there's a unhinged automated defense mechanism that's shaped like a Sega Genesis that's defending like the electrical grid. It's like the power meter is a homicidal power meter, the Energenius, that shocks, electrocutes, incinerates, and fires like an anti-aircraft gun at you at the same time, at your character. And that part is just kind of hilarious. I mean, it's actually like it's violent, but it's just like a big joke. And then you just like restart, and you're like, well, don't get electrocuted, fried, and shot by the silly, power meter. It's also dark, but it's different from like indigenous children getting kidnapped by the U.S. government or the Canadian government live in front of you, right? In like a very sober, like, this is just, it's just like disturbingly like, it's just kind of like a camera in the room, kind of like a uncut footage of just somebody recording what's happening. And so that part, you got to really play that differently. So anyway, so if you miss the tone, if the actor like gets the tone wrong, like part of me, I should have written it better and clearer. Sometimes you got to read the tone in, right? But if they get it wrong, I got to think about it, and I got to go, oh man, I'm gonna have them redo that, or I don't know. I got to really I have to kind of like have all that stored. You know what I'm saying? In my head. Anyway. I said so many words. I didn't read the chat. I'm sorry. If you're just tuning in again, I'm talking about Neofeud 2 updates and try to be more interactive with the chat. So ask questions about Silver Spoon Games or Neofeud 2 or anything else. What's up, Comrade Internet? Have a good one, Grant. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, we're doing good though. I'm just over here going off probably a little too much. But yeah, so that's a lot of that process. So I just kind of realized that recently. Oh man, that's why I'm like, I have to move on to the final phase. The final phase is once I finish the voice acting, then I want to get the music done and sound effects done, and then it's just like testing, and then it'll be done. So ideally, if I can get all the voice acting done within August, then by September, I could be, I'm going to start like easing into the music right now, because, it's all audio at least. So I'm going to start like working on the music. There's going to be probably recurring tracks from Neofeud 1 and also possibly other games. Like I actually made, other than Neofeud, I also made a game called Terminus Machina, which is a total conversion modification for Deus Ex. Sometimes I've brought it up on this channel. Also, William Gibson's Neuromancer, which is the original Cyberpunk. That's what Shadowrun, Cyberpunk 2020, 2077 is all based on Neuromancer. And so I also did a podcast with William Gibson, the writer of Neuromancer back in the day. And Neuromancer is coming to Apple TV, I think. Is it Apple TV? Pretty sure it's Apple TV. Apple TV is doing everything nowadays. It's like, they're like, oh man, we're not going to sell any more phones in China. We got to invest $500 billion in the US. Although, because Al Capone, the orange Al Capone is gonna shake us down, but Apple, as at least they're doing all these they're doing like Holly and I are also watching Foundation, sci-fi Isaac Asimov's book-based show Foundation, and also Chief of War. So, but Neuromancer is also coming to Apple, so that's a big deal. 'Cause that's like the original Cyberpunk story. I would argue. Anyways, So, but yeah, Terminus Machina is another game that I made a while back, and Holly also voice acted in. Holly also made a Russian voice, and Holly played a Russian voice. Holly played a just generic Holly voice, and then there's a southern character, and then there is a British. So yeah, so Holly has done that before. Holly has voice acted. This game came out like 12 years ago, at least 2013. And so but I'm gonna take the world of Terminus Machina, where you play a homeless socialist hacktivist revolutionary trying to jailbreak iPhone factory worker slaves in San Francisco while dodging drone strikes and bombs from AI and robot automated police and / military that are trying to blow you up. And they're like, when you log into the internet, right? Like how the internet is getting more and more controlled. So when you log into the internet in Terminus Machina, and you say anything left of Joe Biden, if you say anything that would slightly anger Sam Altman or Peter Thiel or Donald Trump or Joe Biden or Bill Gates, drones come to your house and blow you up. People are like, oh my God, turn your Instagram location off. It's like Terminus Machina is like that. That's like it's well beyond that. It's like, do you have like an NVIDIA chip? Do you have like an Apple? Do you have like a Samsung or a Windows or anything like that? Any corporate anything electronic piece of communication installed on you? Do you do anything that might slightly anger a millionaire or a billionaire? Then drones are coming to your house. Aerial and like the Unitree robots are all being bought and reprogrammed to run around and beat you up with all the robot dog cops. That's basically the Terminus Machina world. In Terminus Machina world now predates is part of the, and there's also you play a revolutionary, anti-capitalist, anti-racist communist revolutionary that's trying to basically hack the entire AI automated robot plutocracy that is collapsing in the U.S. There's food shortages. There's actually a hunger meter as people starve in San Francisco and the rest of America. And speaking of food, and speaking of McSwifts, so McSwifts is, it costs $399 hyperinflated US dollars to buy one austerity burger, which is a toasted bun between two other buns. Obviously, references Jonathan Swift's "Eat Your Children," which is part of the long storied Western process of starving people for the benefit of unjust systems and their elites. And the modest proposal is a proposal for the Irish starving in that time to cook and boil various recipes for preparing their own children for food to sustain themselves if they ran out of food because of British colonial policies. And anyway, so McSwifts is just part of that. Anyway, but long story short, so the world of Terminus Machina is also part of the Neofeud world, and so there's going to be recurring characters. There's recurring characters and there's recurring. And this game came out 12 years ago, so I wrote it in 2009. So any resemblance to the current United States where AI automation and robots is displacing workers, and the workers show up and then blow up the McDonald's that can afford the burgers that the McDonald's is producing. That's one of the scenes. There's a worker that shows up and is like threatening to destroy and bomb basically the place that just fired him because they felt they could replace him with synthetic robots, and there's no solution. There's no safety net, right? So just kind of just go away, but also keep buying the burgers. And he's like, well, I can't afford the burgers, and then So it's any resemblance to 2025 in America is because I don't do science fiction. I do journalism with stylized characteristics. From the future. But Silver Spook is actually a character from Terminus Machina that will be showing up in Neofeud 2. And some of the music from Terminus Machina will also be showing up in Neofeud 2. Okay, anyways, I just want to get the voice acting done for this, if there's anything left. Gonna get going. Yeah, see ya. Thanks for stopping by, Grant. Well, it's if you comment internet, you better hurry up because and submit something if you would like to, because we're gonna be, as I said, done in the week. But feel free to submit something if you would like to. Because as I said previously, we're down to the last 9 out of 85 parts. Anyway. All those asides aside, it's 12:37. Let me show at least a little bit of the in-game. I'll show a little bit of the in-game of the Neofeud 2, just so we get at least some of that. Anyway, as I'm loading it up, so if I can get all the voice acting done, then I can unload the script. I don't have to be thinking about the script as much and like people's parts and going back and forth with them on that. Then I can just focus on, cutting it, editing the final lines if there are any, and then working on the music, right? And once if I can try to get the music done in September, then by October I could just be testing, and then potentially could be ready to release, hopefully by December, right? So that's where I hope to be is if all goes well, is to be releasing Neofeud 2 by December. I have this goal because I don't want to have to think about Neofeud 2. When the Fallout TV show, I really like the Fallout TV show. The Fallout TV show is really great. If you don't know that, I love the Fallout games, and I played the Fallout 1 and I replayed Fallout 1 and 2 last year, right before the Fallout TV show came out, that was launched on Prime. And so I want to be done with Neofeud 2 by the time the Fallout TV show comes out, so I don't have to think about. I want my brain to be completely like. I would like to completely evacuate my neural bowels. That sounds kind of perverse and odd, but I would like to be able to evacuate. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like when you shut your computer down. You know how you like delete your cache and cookies, and you empty your recycle bin, and you know how much how much emptier you feel, and how much freer your computer feels. Like it feels like it's faster, and then you restart the computer, and when you click on an icon or a button or the URL box, right? It's like instantly responds. It doesn't take like 10 seconds to think about what you clicked on. You know, I want that's because you've emptied out all of your cache, all your memory, all of your SRAM and your RRAM and your DRAM and your DDR RAM, right? The German Socialist Republic RAM, the DDR RAM is all gone. You know, the Dance Dance Revolution RAM is all gone, right? It's all cleared out. And then everything feels good, right? I want my brain to be cleared out of all this massive amount of Neofeud 2 storage. You know, but I can't do that as long as I'm not done with the game. You know what I'm saying? It's like the gremlin on my back. You know, it just has to be there. You know, it's like your hard drive is at, you know, your 100 gigabyte hard drive is at 99.6 gigabytes used, right? And you know that starts to really drag it down. So I want to be able to fill it up with Fallout TV show lore and then just watch that and not, you know, I mean, I still watch shows and movies, right? But I remember when I did interview William Gibson, that's one thing he brought up. He said like it's hard to William Gibson only watches 3 movies a year. That's what he said, because if I watch it, I have to make this whole set with the little matchstick people. I have to have like all of these cardboard painted, plyboard painted backdrops in the movie set of my head when I'm writing books. Guys, writing books is actually similar to, writing Neofeud 2, extremely story heavy games, right? It's kind of like writing books, or writing a movie and you're having to get the screenplay right. You got to really have everything like at the tip of your fingers, at your fingertips at any moment. So it all has to be loaded in the front of your head while you're working on it. And so Willie Gibson is like, because if I watch one Shape of Water, amazing, groundbreaking tour de force by Guillermo del Toro, which just came out at the time, and Willie Gibson is like, and he's like, if I watch a Guillermo del Toro movie, it like wipes my entire set out, because now I'm full, because it's a really good movie, so I'm really thinking about it, and my head is filled with the details from that movie, and I have to reconstruct the set for the book in my head to keep working on it. So that's actually pretty close to how, I mean, if you're actually writing a good book, I mean, you could just write slop, or you could write bad books. I mean, AI doesn't write anything. It just, stochastically parrots existing words that sound kind of like previous strings of words. But you could also just write bad books, even without AI. But if you actually want to write something that's worth being consumed, sometimes you have to kind of go through that process of, like it everybody's process is different, I suppose, but it's also it does take a toll, Okay. Anyways, okay. I'm gonna open up the game now for a bit, and then we'll just show off some of that. Let me see. Okay. Okay. So now this is good. This is just a little bit of a sneak peek inside of the game. Once I can get it running. since we're on YouTube, anybody who knows Non-Compete or American Johnson, there's many left tube stars are inside of or left tube semi. But they're not quite as big as it's not Jason Momoa or who's the biggest on YouTube. I don't even know who's a big YouTube star, but there's quite a few American Johnson, Non-Compete, Luna Oi, some people that are not quite as big as that, like Bridget Empire, Marceline, Mars in Theory, a bunch of indie wrestlers, like Ophidian the Cobra from Shikara Wrestling, and Kate Nix is a musician and performer. She actually played with the drummer from Dresden Dolls, and is also a performer and a good friend of Holly's. There's a whole bunch of it's basically lots of our friends that we know are all in this game, and some others that are like more like acquaintances. I'm gonna try to. Okay, here we go. So I'm just gonna try to have some of the Okay, it's a little bit slow. I'm starting the game in the middle of a scene. It shouldn't start there. It starts at the beginning. But this is just for testing purposes. So here's some of the guys. I recently added Hippie Terminator. I'm really happy to have Todd the Hippie Terminator, the anti-war Terminator is back from Neofeud 1. Vintage model X800. Heard the Earthlings used these to put down the Pinko commie uprisings on the humans' homeworld when climate change terrorists tried to stop oil pipelines and pollute the world with solar panels. Socialists tried to force everyone to eat rats. Obviously, the main character has been programmed by his capitalist corporate creators / country to think things that may not be correct. That's part of the whole. A lot of Neofeud 2 is the brainwashing of capitalist, so-called democratic countries and systems and places, right? And so he thinks all these weird things, and then when he gets challenged by more independent thinkers, his corporate brain erases the new thoughts from his mind, because they violate the terms of service of his mind, which is you cannot think anti-capitalist, you cannot think anti-colonial thoughts, you cannot think poorly of Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg or the equivalent, right? You have to think positive things about them, or your brain will simply have the thoughts overwritten. That's part of the process he's going through.
Viva la revolution, brother. War. Huh. What is it good for? Peace and love will win.
Hippie Terminator.
Hey, always good to see a fellow Chrome brother in arms.
Semper Atrox. I did 2 tours in the Venusian antimatter bombing. A real snafu. Lost my arm to a phase rifle and a leg to a cluster nuke when they leveled the sapient cities. The military-industrial complex didn't give 2 flark shits if they blew up their own soldiers. Been living in a neoliberal tent city ever since the VA canceled my therapy credits, retirement, and robo-refurb care. That's why I dumpster dived this here cheapo plastic leg.
If you've played Neofeud 1, you may recall this character. He's he is yet again being deployed to pull triggers for the profit of horrible, science fictional Lockheed Martins and those kinds.
My memory is hazy, but I feel like I've been screwed by the colonial military myself.
That's why I'm out here with the Red Star Revolt, man. We've all been screwed. Every one of us. By Neoliberon, the Neofeudals, the Empire. Too long.
I understand, but I'm gonna have my head nuked by the megacorp that owns it in a few hours. I don't have time for a fight that could take weeks, years.
Thought patterns reaching terms of service. Continued transgressions may result in soul eviction from this body. That's his brain talking to him.
I mean, I love this amazing hype-tech e-mind.
Whatever you say. Poor guy must be a blindered Anderson.
Oh.
I thought the catchphrase was Semper Fi in the Marines. Semper Atrox?
Always committing atrocities. That's what we did, brother. We never stood for liberty, equality, justice for all, gunning down families and their rice paddies, bombing hospitals and school buses, just for the shock and awe of it. This is the least I can do. Getting tear gassed and nightsticked, thrown in jail with my fellow citizens and sentient beings, demanding their constitutional right to speak, to peaceably assemble, the right to live without being murdered by cops or Gestapo. At least I'm fighting on the right side for once. It's some small shred of atonement for all the things I've done.
Is that what we did? Silent on a stick. My brain's foggy all the time. Recalling memories feels like squinting at vague shapes through dark clouds.
Okay, one more.
Aren't you like an ancient Earth model?
Yes, sirree. An antique EX800 at your service. Narrowly survived the collapse by the non-skin of my teeth. But then the man caught me. Reproged, packed, stamped, and shipped me across the stars. An older model, I was warehoused till I ran low on soldiers in Cinderia. Started pulling from the reserves.
What was life like on Earth?
Don't recall much. They wiped most of it. Overwrote with updated killing techniques, whatnot. But some nights, I feel like I had a whole life or something. Like I'm missing something. Like phantom limb syndrome, but a phantom family.
Anyway, that's a little bit of foreshadowing there.
Take it easy.
You may recall. It may make sense if you play Neofeud 1. Okay, anyways, let's hear American Johnson.
Power to the people for 2069.
American Johnson is also the YouTube channel Non-Compete. That is he is a YouTube content creator that is contributing his voice to this game.
What's 42069? Is that the manufacture date for Trayvon Luther Chrome Jr., the great sentient rights activist?
No, it's a movement for a 4-day work week, 20 hours max, 69 Zuckbucks per hour minimum wage. One of the core demands of the GWW.
GWW?
Galactic Workers of the Worlds. We're fighting an interstellar class war, comrade. Stand with us in solidarity for our right to a decent living. Why should we work grueling 100-hour weeks for pennies when the human purist trillionaires play all day, enjoying hors d'oeuvres and highballs? We're organizing a galactic general strike.
I mean, I don't like the dirt pay any more than the next terrestrial, but sounds a bit pie in the nebula, don't you think? The Galactic Union of Liberal States, they've got the Milky Way under lock and key card. You can't save the worlds. Better to just save yourself, no?
That's capitalist realism talking. You've got to dream bigger, my steel sibling.
Something in my rented neural substrate tells me I'd better stop talking to you before I'm kill switched into non-existence.
Okay, that's enough of that scene. Okay. Also, again, I'm gonna wrap up soon. So, if you have any other questions about Neofeud 2, Silver Spoon Games, etc., feel free to throw them out there. I am going to be trying to answer them in this Neofeud 2 updates stream. So I'm trying to choose an area to play through. This one worked out pretty good last time, so I'm going to do a little bit of this one. Just a little bit more sneak peeks in what Neofeud 2 looks like with some of the voice acting in it. Sindarian, yeah. Sindarian is pronounced as it was said. And as I just said it right there. Sindarian.
Okay, this is the last known location of Volterra's contact before they vanished.
So, where do we start?
It's time to put our gumshoes on and start pounding pavement.
Is it utopian custom to apply confection to one's footwear and pound fists upon the cobblestone? Is that a summoning ritual of some sort? Sorry, this character's not voiced yet.
She means it's time for detective work.
Ah, yes, of course.
I'm no super sleuth myself, but we've all been force-fed our fair share of propaganda TV shows here in the belly of the beast. Just pretend we're the stars of Charlemagne PI or Law and Disorder.
Hands where I can see 'em. Book 'em, Dano!
Okay, never quote Hawaii Five-0 at me again, or I'll rip your cute little faceplate off.
But you said, act like utopian cop TV stars.
You know what? I take that back. Just act normal, but competent at investigation, like...
Bad bots, bad bugs. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
And no singing propaganda theme songs either.
No, no quoting those problematic cop TV shows. Only a cab in this taxi cab, son. We should start looking for clues and asking questions about our Mr. Anyway, so I'm just gonna kind of like go through a little bit of this so you can see like what some of the voice acting is like, and what some of the game is like. Here's the guy with he's backlogged on his brain rent.
Hey there, Chief. You happen to see any action tonight?
I have.
You okay, buddy?
Did you know that 9 out of 10 artificial intelligence specialists recommend the Omnizon 08 Galaxy Brain as the preferred synthetic mind? Sure, you may think you have a very good genius brain, but unless you scored an 11 out of 10 on the Gertzel-Clinton-Bush consciousness test, you're basically subhuman. Do you want to be relegated to joblessness and destitution in the hyper-competitive mind marketplace? Of course not. You'll never outfox that Yakari megasuit in the boardroom, launch that FDL space travel startup, or get that coveted law partnership with your archaic, natural meat neurons. The hot date you woo at the French Martian fusion restaurant will never be wowed by your subpar cerebrum's dim-wit and unfunny jokes. It's time to pull yourself up by your own hypertrophied synapses and toss those useless snake oil nootropics down the drain. It's time to really get smart. Omni Galaxy Brain, the optimum you. Starting at just 5,500 Zuck bucks per month, plus transcranial consciousness transfer fees. What? Oh, sorry about that. I just went into a corporation-induced fugue state. I had to rent some of my Cybrain cycles for ads in order to pay my mind rent.
I said, did you happen to see anything unusual tonight?
Sorry, I seem to have lost access to my short-term memory from the last several hours. Probably just a neural bug.
Oh, a corp blackout. Just our luck. Better try some other bystanders.
Oh, thanks a lot, Comrade Internet. Glad that you think it looks great. Is great. Anyways, I actually, so this is one example I was talking about how I'm trying to play the robots. I'm trying to play as many characters as I can because there's so many. And so I play that robot, the unemployed rescue bot, 3 blue-eyed squid-like machine, and I also play the other robot guy. But because it's a robot, I can really distort the voice, so it's harder to tell that it's it's hard to tell that it's me doing them. Let's see here. Pale green fingers of surveillance scan light strafe the endless, huddled, showerless masses.
With ubiquitous facial recognition, it's tough to get away with any crime in most populated areas of Bizon. Unless the criminals are the states using the cameras or the corporations that sell them. In that case, the cameras are just victim locators.
Some of the observe actions have characters talking about it as well. Let's talk to this person.
Please, officer, I only have 12 Zok dollars. Please just take it. I cannot go back to Tartarus prison.
Whoa! Slow your rotors, jailbird. We're friends.
Yeah, we're not plainclothes cops stopping by to collect stay out of a cage racket.
Oh, thank the Rasta. Not twice in one night.
Sorry about your friend. Looks like Eutropia's finest did a real brown shirt number there.
Yeah, they smashed the crap out of him. Those fascist pigs. I told Arai not to install the neuroware, but he had trouble keeping orders straight at his McSwift's job and thought a galaxy brain would augment his memory, maybe help him beat the AI screenplay generators in his sci-fi writer side hustle.
Wait, the police beat him to a pulp for installing a cybrain?
No, he scored a raise at the fast food place. Even got his Battle Trek Galaxia story turned into a web miniseries. But buggy updates, they doubled the neuro rent, and competitors got the latest gen galaxy brain, and then he was out of both jobs. After losing all his income, he fell into a funk, started hunting down illegal socialist content on RadTube and LeftNet. Arai was playing Step Revolution, started talking about actual revolution, eating the rich. Not 5 minutes later, the thought police zoomed down here, beat the living crap out of him. Told him he'd be in a dog kennel if he ever had the thoughts again.
Proto J Christ. So why are you saying that out loud right now? Aren't you worried the man will read your synapses and haul you off to a torture chamber?
My skull's pre-installed with all native meatware, bucko. No Galaxy Brain S12, Cerebra 360, or iMind for the cores to track my gray matter.
They did not brutalize him simply for his thoughts, but because he is Sindarian. Every day another one. They do not do such things to the milky earthlings.
True, the police will beat us Sindarians just for standing around while Sindarian.
These Eutropians raise our planet, force us to evacuate here, and now blame us for taking their jobs and all their other problems.
You Sindarians seen any action tonight? Like maybe a violent disappearance? Maybe extra murdery? I mean, other than this police brutality.
Much happens here every night. Look at all the Malays, the bodies around you. Sarasta, save us. We are in the belly of Shai Gurath, the great sandworm of death.
Yes, but perhaps you might have seen a very specific individual, like this person here?
Okay, anyways. I think this conversation goes on for a lot longer, so I might actually pause it here. That is a whole bunch of Neofeud 2. Just a little sneak peek of some of Neofeud 2 that is almost done. And yeah, we should be wrapping it up. I just want to show off one. This is the thing I was working on. It takes me so long. I want to show off, and I also want to test. I actually have not actually tested this yet. There's a character. This character takes me 3 times as long to edit all their lines because they have a lot of effects in their voice on their voice. So I'm just gonna. And yeah, and as you can see, like there's gonna be multiple different. You actually go to multiple different places, like totally different countries in Neofeud 2, or different lands maybe. And then you see a little bit of that. So it's a little more diverse in the, like Neofeud 1 takes place basically in one city, maybe from the bottom of the city to the very top of it. But Neofeud 2 like goes to entirely new places. And this is one of them here. Oh, is it?
The honor is ours.
Okay. I'm gonna skip some of this. Whoa. Yeah, so this is one of the areas you go to. I don't have the music in here yet, but I just want to play this character's voice acting.
Ni hao, meow orange. Yao ora, your majestic godliness.
Welcome, Nostromo. I am not a queen or a god. Madam High Steward will do.
Yes, absolute toot-a-doodly, Madam High Steward. Dude, what the hell are you even saying? Get it together.
We hope you've enjoyed your stay thus far.
Totally awesome. Thank you so much again for the free mecha care and the free housing, free energy, free everything, really. I'm doing so well. I don't even feel like assassinating you. That's good news, right? Means I'm not a munchie candidate, a sleeper agent or whatever, right?
Indeed.
Sorry, I'll stop talking now.
Nostromo 13917. High-tech design Utopian Lieutenant. Special Forces Unit. Medal of Honor, 3 Purple Hearts. Kongori Uprising, Cinderella Invasion, Victoria Coup. This honorably discharged for insubordination, labeled defective. Scheduled for deactivation by Omnicorps for body mortgage delinquency.
That sounds about right, Madam President.
This is who our unhealed children see you as. A malfunctioning, disposable gadget. A sentient war machine tossed into their mountainous landfill that poisoned Atuan's gardens before devouring a new green world. Our broken descendants, sadly, do not respect aura. Stone for slings, twine for arrows, powder for guns, paper for lies. Synthetic life is but another weapon to subjugate creation in their cataract-marred eyes. But we see in you a miraculous, beloved family member, however unloving your parents have been.
You do?
Yes, and in the fire-feathered onyx eye of the infinite grandmother, we also see in you a liberator, a right maker. We would like to give you a chance to stop this needless, endless war you were built to fight. You are free to decline, of course. You may live out your life here in Venura, in peace, without want, as an adopted, beloved child in our civilization, our family of families. You may even return to your home country if you so choose. However, that would be quite treacherous at this moment.
Utopia is not my home country. I'm the bastard son of an uncaring megacorp and a homicidal military that kicked me to the blood and shit smeared curb the second I couldn't pull plasma triggers for him anymore.
We understand. It's quite horrific the way that the Galactic Union mistreats even its own warriors.
Thank you so much for your offer, your kindness, and everything you've done, Madam High Steward. I don't yet know where I belong exactly. But if we're talking about sticking it to the ghouls, Omni, and a trillionaire royalty fat cat sitting on piles of blood-covered gold, well, I'm in, whatever it is.
Oh, anyways, well, thanks a lot, Comrade Internet. Yeah, in Neofeud 2, the general, like, it's similar to Neofeud 1, where the Terminator, like, looks very scary, like it's going to kill you, but one of the most humanistic, the most human characters is in fact the red-eyed skeletal machine that was designed for killing, right? A hippie Terminator, anti-war Terminator, and then even too, all of aliens, all the xenomorph, the aliens versus predator, the whole idea and concept of these, creatures that lay their young in your body, destroy and explode your torso when their progeny, are born, and that are ruthless, right? Their hostility, their structural perfection matched only by their hostility, right? As Ash described the alien, the descriptions of aliens as these horrible nightmare creatures, the xenomorphs, right? That is all propaganda. That is all like it's like anti-Islamic propaganda during the run-up to the Iraq War and the seven wars in 7 years in the 2000s, right? So it's like all of the alien movies in the Neofeud 2 universe are propaganda movies to justify the invasion and war and destruction of an indigenous planet of semi-insectal exoskeletal sapient beings that are actually far more advanced than the human colonizers that are showing up, Eutropians. And so that is definitely one of the intentions in the game, is to subvert all the expectations in a global colonial imperial sense, in a way that the Terminator is about subverting the iRobot Skynet dangers of artificial intelligence, quote unquote artificial intelligence and robotics expectations. Right, so the alien is about it's also subverting the demonization of foreign and also Asian, African, Indigenous, American, and Pacific global majority peoples and cultures. Right, it's a story about that, because a lot of Neofeud 2 deals with the story of the multi-centuries and millennia, really, certainly many centuries of imperialism and colonialism and racism on a grander scale. So it's kind of like, that's why I selected the specific look of them to be an alien people that has been demonized historically. There's not real xenomorphs in the world, obviously, but like the way it's reconstructed, the way those are contextualized in the kind of meta narrative of Neofeud 2, is that's all propaganda. It just, in Neofeud 1, like the Terminator, there's not Terminator movies in Neofeud 1, but the anti-machine bigots, right, that is part of the structural oppression of the machines that are doing work as a part of the working class and part of the downtrodden classes, right? The Terminator movies, they're called the Kill Machine 1, Kill Machine 2, Robogeddon. The Kill Machine movies are themselves propaganda against the machines to justify denying them resources and enslaving them. Right, and so in Neofeud 2, the alien movies are propaganda to justify global colonialism, intergalactic, interstellar colonialism. And yeah, also the voice effects were also that was a it took a lot of doing, but it's I kind of wanted to feel a little Protoss-ish, but it's kind of like, but why did the Protoss have to all be European medieval coded? That actually is a question that's posed earlier on in the game. And it's answered by a character named Roswellis. Okay, let me just get a little bit of like here, this one. Yeah, let's do this one.
They call you Venusians in Eutropia?
We know of this term, Venusian. However, it was a mishearing and misunderstanding of we, the indigenous peoples of this planet, by the Earthling arrivals. We are the Venuora, the people who warp space-time, who weave reality.
Wait, you're saying you guys have warp drives?
We have faster-than-light technology that far exceeds what is imagined in your progenitor race's best cosmology, which we have studied thoroughly. We cross galaxies in seconds, sail to other star oceans for holiday. We wield suns like great hydrogen hearths and travel through time as easy as remembering your 1000th birthday party.
Sun tossing? Time travel? That's science fiction.
We would like the Eutropian colonizers to continue to believe so, along with their just-so-bedtime story that they are more advanced than us, according to their simplistic, Eutrocentric conceptions of progress.
Okay, anyways, there's a lot more. You can actually go a lot more, but some players might just be like, okay, you know what? Let's wrap this up. That's well, you're not supposed to be able to wrap it up that fast. Hold up. Let's just test that out one more time. Oh yeah, what's the plan now? So you can actually look around the room, but I have not yet added the music to this area, but you get a sense of like a bit more of the expanded world. This is just like one little bit of this area that they're in is just part of an entire new it's a whole other civilization. It's not really a country. It's actually like a multi-continental civilization that spans huge parts of the planet. And so you leave the capitalist, it's kind of like a Western America like dystopian capitalist hell where there's homeless people everywhere and there's super rich billionaires destroying everything, and everyone's being beaten by fascist cops that are just ransacking at random people. The city's on fire. The water's all coming out like poison. And then you leave and you come to like, oh my gosh, this is like it's like an indigenous Star Trek socialist utopia out there. And it's like, and they're like, yes, we would like these silly capitalists, from their colonizer, with their colonizer tendencies to keep thinking they're extremely, it's kind of like, going like, oh yes, no, let the United States keep on tariffing people and thinking that they're winning, and they're going to tell themselves and their voters, they're going to tell their brainwashed citizens and their funders, right, that they're doing really great, right? They're just really winning. America's really winning against, global majority. And it just, BRICS is going to fall any second now. Let them keep thinking that, Anyways, so that's just some of Neofeud 2. And so as you can see, it's got more varied areas and places that you can visit. And it's not all just, it takes place in like a lot of different places too. It also helps to compare and contrast like how bad it is in Neoliberon, right? It's kind of like neoliberalism city is where you start, right? And then you realize that there contrary to Margaret Thatcher's deterministic doomerism of there is no alternative to capitalism, There is, in fact. So that's another hopeful bit that's part of Neofeud too. Anyways, if you have appreciated this, consider liking this stream. Consider helping us out at ko-fi.com/silverspook and also patreon.com/Neofeud. And Neofeud 2 is going to be coming soon. But if you want to support the work that we do here in terms of making videos and content and streaming, and of course also finishing these games like Neofeud 2, consider supporting us through patreon.com/Neofeud. You can also help us out to keep on doing. We also do land back and restoring the environment and also food systems here in Hawaii, where we work from. And I'm also a native Hawaiian, and they can help us to do that ecological and food sovereignty work, as well as making more of these videos on. And also recently a book that I was painted a cover for, of Floating Isles, which is the perfect book for people who are gamers and also readers who like to read books. I call it the Final Fantasy VII of books, of Floating Isles, which is, full disclosure, was written by a friend of mine and also a colleague, and also he's a professor of game studies and also author and novel writer of Floating Isles. But yeah, if you want to help us out and also finishing Neofeud 2 and get updates on that, and also get access to Silverspook Discord and the Silverspook University, over 1,000 hours of all the content we have produced. They're categorized by topics. You can do that by becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/Neofeud. Do some mutual aid for us. Help us out here. This is the Silverspook University. And of course, you can also grab, as I said previously, you can grab the games like Neofeud on Steam or Itch, and there's many places to grab it. You can grab Neofeud on Steam over here, and Neofeud 1. I was just sharing Neofeud 2. This is the first one, which is already out, and I spent 2.5 years working on it. It is a retro cyberpunk point-and-click adventure game, and yeah, if you like what you saw in Neofeud 2, this may be up your alley as well. And if you like Neofeud 1, don't forget to leave even a very short review, because it does help to get the game visible when people are looking for games on Steam in the Steam algorithm. You can also get it, if you don't have Steam, you can also get Neofeud on itch.io for Windows and for Mac and for Linux on this itch.io site. And you can also get other games like Pigeon with Gun, Decolonators, and Digistar. And Woman is a book by Holly, who was raised in right-wing evangelical Christian culture, critiquing that in this story of Mary within the Bible from her perspective. And you can also follow all over the place, including at Silverspook Games at wandering.shop, at Silverspook Games at mastodon.social on the Mastodon. We're also on Blue Sky and all over the place, Instagram, Facebook, wherever else you might be. Also on Twitter, you can follow at Silverspook Guy or at Silverspook Games for the personal takes and for the game stuff, respectively. And you can also follow, I don't know why Twitter always takes so long to load. So I can follow Silverspook Guy. When I go live, I usually post from here as well. And you can also follow Holly or Silverspook Games for the games related stuff. And you can also follow Holly at Allergic to Blue. Married to myself and partner here and moderator, as our great moderator as always, sharing important information. And thank you to all of our Patreon patrons for your ongoing support. Massively appreciate it. Without your support, it's hard to keep doing this work. So thank you so much for that help. Thanks everybody who's for stopping by, and thanks for watching and listening. And until next time, keep mirror shades polished, be excellent to each other. Oh, what did I just do? I clicked on something and now it's all weird. Oh, be careful what you click on, and act with your whole voice and your whole heart, and use your brains. Don't install rented corporate hardware into your brain or outsource your thinking to horrific entities. And